All right, Ricardo. A very somber Week 7 for the NFL, especially since we have Tom Brady and the Bucs offense losing to the Carolina Panthers.
Not just the Carolina Panthers, but their third-string quarterback in the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Not even Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes. On top of that, too, the Seahawks trumping the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yep.
And the New York Giants, the surprise of the NFL this season, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars in a very tight race. Honestly, the only tight race that we have had so far this season.
And I got to really quickly, good for the teams of New York, but we'll get more into that. It's been a while since they've had good football teams, but let's get right to it, man. Another good Week 7 of NFL football.
Absolutely. With that, I'm Jose.
And I'm Ricardo.
And welcome back to RJ Talks. All right, Ricardo. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. I mean, this was a tough game to watch for sure, especially for Tom Brady at the helm.
Yeah.
We were having a discussion before starting the podcast, and we were saying things like Tom Brady, unfortunately, should have retired last year.
Yeah.
Right? He should have kept to his word and said, you know what, I'm putting the past behind me, and I think this is the best decision for not only myself but my family, speaking from the perspective of Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
And if I remember correctly, in the summer, I don't have to look back to the episode. I remember us clearly, we were unsure of him coming back. What else was there except to lose? And because it was such a historic way to go out, still at the top of the game. Sure, you lost the playoff game, but it was incredible to watch. And
he still came back. Offense still came back and were able to score points and keep it a close game.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, it ended in true Tom Brady fashion. Mm-hmm. But man,
against the Super Bowl champions, no less.
Yes,
absolutely.
The eventual Super Bowl champions, and it took a great play to stop the game from going into overtime.
Yes,
so
that's right.
So it was a great way to go out. It's hard to watch this now, Jose, because it all seems to be going downhill. And I'll get into the game a little bit, but speaking just from the Tom Brady perspective, it's very, very hard to watch this happen, because what made him so special and so people go in their opinion is because he was doing the unthinkable, playing great at an excellent age. He was going to prove all the doubters wrong and do well. That's why that last Super Bowl was so perfect to cap off that career.
Yes,
because
he
ended proving the doubters wrong one more time. But I talked about this before, and I just recently watched, I'm sure everybody's watched it by now, but if you haven't, what are you doing? The Last Dance documentary on Netflix. And I was watching it that weekend before, and I was thinking about, man, it's just, if Jordan could have just gone out at that point, the final championship, and not come back for the Wizards, it would have been amazing. Well, I texted you about this. It's just the universe was telling me Tom Brady should have done the same thing, just gone out on top. There's no need. You proved enough. There's plenty to go about it. And let's just get straight to the game, Jose. Buccaneers are looking awful. Both sides of the ball.
They really are.
Completely awful.
No, they really are. The fact that they can't stop the ball, particularly the passing game up against the Carolina Panthers, who started their third-string quarterback. I mean, they aren't even playing against Baker Mayfield.
They've won one game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've won a single game. They were 1-5 going into this Tampa Bay game, and they are now 2-5. Right? And officially, as of that game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now have a losing record of 3-4.
Yeah.
Now, without even scoring a touchdown against the Carolina Panthers, the worst team in the league, right?
Yeah.
It's not even an argument anymore. They are the absolute, just bona fide worst team in the league, right? So now you're having the worst team in the league up against who we thought would be part of the NFC elite in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they just haven't been playing well at all. And we can't even we can't even make the argument that it's Tom Brady who is still standing out on top, but the rest of the team isn't pulling their weight.
No,
Tom Brady isn't even pulling his weight,
nope.
Right? He is making just some very questionable plays, very questionable passes over to his receivers. Yet, there are still moments where he steps up into the pocket as he's getting pressured, and it still looks like the Tom Brady of old, right? But at the same time, I mean, he's making passes into double coverage that have no chance of getting into the receiver. How is this Tom Brady?
And I saw some passes too, Jose, when it was across the middle to Mike Evans or down the seam to Chris Godwin, just inaccurate, too high for Mike Evans. Mike Evans is 6'4". How do you overthrow him? 6'4", 6'5". Can't reach over the top.
Absolutely,
It's just these. I'm like, these are passes that he made last year, and it's coming to the deterioration, Jose, where it's just like, man, it's looking like age is finally caught up with him. Unless for some miraculous reason he makes it incredible second half turnaround to prove like, no, I still got it. I'm Tom Brady. It looks like Father Time has finally like caught up with him as far as what he's doing, because it frustrated me because it's not even a good defense, Jose.
It's not.
He's missing passes with a horrible defense, and people like to bring up the Mike Evans drop pass that could have gone for a touchdown in the first drive. That was the first drive of the game. There was plenty of opportunities then. Tom Brady failed to convert. It hurts me to say this because we both love Tom Brady a lot, but we got to be honest here. We can't be nothing if not honest. He has looked awful.
He has, and it's very unfortunate to see a man of such great talent, especially him, being the greatest football player of all time. Analysts are now coming together. They have been coming together for the past 3-4 years, saying that yes, he is the greatest of all time, bona fide, undisputed, no doubt.
Yeah.
Right. But the fact that he is coming out this season, he is playing the way that he is, amidst his marital trouble, right? Amidst his marital trouble, which we're not going to get into, his and his stance with the team as it is right now, right? The chemistry is not there offensively at all. And that's exactly what it looks like on the field. It's starting to translate.
You got it. You got it exactly right. Forget the marriage issue. Like every player has issues off the field.
Right.
But he's not Tom Brady of old, being with the team, leading the team, getting to every practice, going to every team meetings, all that good stuff. When had Tom Brady ever decided not to go through a walkthrough with his team because he decided to get there late because of a wedding or stuff like that, or just take 11 days off training camp? Yes, it's training camp, but it's the camaraderie and the bones that builds the season for the long term.
Right.
And he can't even he's yelling at his players at the sideline. Like, you can't even, as a player, respect that. Well, we're here. We've been here. We've been here the whole time. There's times where you're not around and we just got to go stuff up on the fly. It's just very frustrating. And honestly, Jose, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this. The only reason they have a chance is because they have a horrible division. They're lucky if they make the playoffs this year.
They are lucky. That's a hard pill to swallow, especially for Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. But at the same time, it's starting to look that way, especially with the state of the defense as it is and the state of the offense as it is. However, there is still a bit of faith in my heart that Tom Brady can pull it off and he can start to bring himself to be the Tom Brady that he was. However, it's going to be much harder at this point because number one, he's older, and number two, it's in the midst of all this trouble that that's been going on and off the field. So because of all this newfound drama and because of this newfound trouble, it's going to be hard for him to step back into the boots of Tom Brady, TB12. That was the Patriots quarterback for 2 decades.
Yeah, and it's close to the middle of the season, Jose. We're 6 games in.
Exactly.
This is in the early part of the season.
Exactly.
And I really think, I love this saying because it's so true. We'll see after Thanksgiving. We will know how the Bucs stand after Thanksgiving, if they're gonna actually be a playoff wild card and maybe a decent team, or if it's just another they're losing the first round and we'll see what happens. Because my goodness, man, even the defense that I love so much about Todd Bowles and everything, they are looking bad as well. Just run defense, pass defense. It's just rough all over the place.
It could also be the fact that Todd Bowles has taken the head coaching position, so his defensive mind has taken a back seat. Mm-hmm. However, that's not to say that his brain is just not sparking right now with all of the inconsistencies that are going on with his defense, his former defense at this point, mind you. So the new defensive coordinator is obviously having some kind of trouble, and Todd Bowles is doing everything he can to manage that as well as the rest of the team, right? Because he is the supervisor of the coaches. The coaches are the supervisor of the team as a whole. So for Todd Bowles, he is in a new position himself, although he knows this team inside and out. I would like to hope so, right? At the very least, the defense in and out. So for Todd Bowles, it's going to be very different. It's going to be very difficult for him to continue this kind of momentum where it seems like Tampa Bay's just hit a wall at this point.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady as well as Todd Bowles are just going to have to sit down and just going to have to talk it out. Todd Bowles, if I were Todd Bowles personally, I would want to sit down with Tom Brady and have a real talk with him and say, hey, you know what? I understand that all these troubles are really affecting you right now. However, you have to be a team player. They're begging for you to do that. The offense is begging for you to do that. The defense is begging for you to do that. They need a leader right now. And that is exactly what you have been, but you're not being that now.
And we haven't seen a Tom Brady moment this season, Jose.
Not at all.
Where every season we see a vintage Tom Brady moment that fires the team up. Or like, that's Tom Brady.
If anything, we saw it in week 1, and that's it. We have seen the offense just come straight out, and we were saying, oh man, this is vintage Tom Brady. This is vintage Tom Brady offense. The ground and pound with the mix of the air raid offense.
Yeah.
Right? Passing the ball overhead as well as handing it off to the running back, just very balanced, right? They started looking like how the Eagles look now.
Yeah.
Right? So the fact that they still look the way that they do is just so disappointing.
Yes.
It really is heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is entirely the fault of Tom Brady as well as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team as a whole.
No, yeah, and this is what what's bothering me about some networks and whatnot. Shannon Sharp is the only one who's being straight up honest about this.
He has been for years. Yeah.
But this time, like, he has like the credit as far as what's going that he's playing awful. He's playing awful. It's not the defense, that's not helping. The receivers, it's not helping, of course. But the main feet of the blame should go to one man and one man only, Tom Brady. This is his team. It was called Tampa Bay. If it's called Tampa Bay,
yes, sir.
You got to take the credit and you got to take the blame.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't just take the credit.
Yeah.
You cannot just take the credit.
Yeah.
And you know us, Ricardo. We are more than willing to give credit where credit is due, especially in the name of the GOAT.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, we're still going to have to be honest and say, hey, you know what? The team is not looking good. Tom Brady is not looking good either.
And I'll say this too. Even when he struggled in his final season with New England, he did not look this bad. He did not. You could actually tell it was the players around him. You could physically tell, like, okay, guys aren't just getting open. This year, guys are open. He's missing them. He's overthrowing. He's underthrowing. Guys are messing up here and there. He misses a read and he gets sacked. Yeah, protection is blown and whatnot. So, I mean, he's got to. I've lost faith that they'll do like anything productive in the playoffs. But to finish out like with some pride. They got to do something.
For sure.
He can't go out like this. He can't end like this in this fashion.
As much as I would love to say that it's Mike Evans not catching that pass, as much as I would love to say it's Chris Godwin being inconsistent as he usually is, the defense not being as consistent as they were last year and the year before that especially, we can't make excuses.
No,
we just can't. It falls solely at the feet of Tom Brady, and for the sake of just repeating ourselves, that's pretty much all I have to say about it for sure.
Yeah, well, let's move on to our next topic here. We'll go ahead and talk about possibly one of the better games of this week, the Giants versus the Jaguars. Two very interesting young teams.
Absolutely, yeah. So do not go away for that. We'll be right back. All right, Ricardo, before we start off with this game, I do want to say the New York Giants are not doing well because of Daniel Jones, all right? I understand the fact that a lot of the time when people are starting to hype up a team, right, the first person they want to look at is the quarterback. It's like, okay, yeah, he's the one. He's the one that's leading the charge. Most definitely not. Okay, it's not Daniel Jones. It is the offense as a whole, with the exception of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is at an average level. He's most definitely not the reason that they're doing bad, or not even doing bad, but it's like he's not the reason that they are winning, exactly, right? But he's not terrible either. Okay. I think the biggest reason why these guys are starting to score a lot of points is because of the offensive backs, right? Specifically Saquon Barkley. Ricardo, I can't tell you how excited I am to see Saquon Barkley finally coming back into it, dude. Oh my goodness! Like his first year, fantastic. Yeah. His rookie year, phenomenal from Saquon Barkley. But unfortunately, after he got injured, right, it was sad to see him not be himself, right? Similar to Tagovailoa. Right? Yeah. When he came back from his hip injury in college, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. No. Okay, so he was in college and he did get that. He was injured in the hip, right? he just didn't look like himself, right? However, Saquon Barkley, right, after his injury, did not look like himself.
Yep.
But it seems like he's really starting to come out of his shell again, and he's starting to play the way that he used to, or at the very least, he's starting to play better than the way that he has been for the past 2-3 years.
Yep.
Right? So I would say that the reason why these guys are looking so good is because of those offensive backs. Not just Saquon Barkley, but the name slips me, but the other running back as well. Right? Their defense is not holding up as well as they did, or as well. But so my prediction is after Thanksgiving, it does not look like the New York Giants are going to continue to be as good as they are, right? But the Jacksonville Jaguars all around look much better than the New York Giants do. However, the Jacksonville Jaguars have to learn how to close off games. Yep. That is their biggest issue for sure, because Trevor Lawrence is having his breakout year. He is looking better than he ever has been, and better than he ever has been in college or in the NFL.
Yep.
And secondly, the appearance of Etienne for sure is starting to provide that support for him, right? And the Jacksonville Jaguars defense just looks significantly better than the New York Giants. That is my piece on that. Go right ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could not agree with you more. You know my thoughts on Daniel Jones. I mean, like...
exactly.
But here's the here's the difference. Here's what makes a franchise a winning franchise as opposed to mediocrity. Most mediocre franchises would just say, like, okay, win it for us, quarterback. You do it. We'll try our best to go about it. The reason that the New York Giants are where they're at, and I am not exaggerating when I say this, they got the coach of the year there in Brian Daboll. He is doing a fantastic job with that team.
Exactly.
He is the epitome of taking the pieces that you have around him and making it work to try to give yourself a chance to win the game.
In other words, he is working with what he has right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why you see Daniel Jones spread out receivers to give him some options to running naked bootlegs, play action. So, sorry, really quickly, to the average person who doesn't know what naked bootleg means, it pretty much means you're setting up your play design to try to run, and when you fake the run, when you have an athletic enough a quarterback, they can just keep running around so the defense doesn't notice him, and then he keeps running around the outside of the defense because they're going to be focused on the running back coming on the inside. So it's kind of tricking them so that the quarterback has a chance to go outside them and get some yards, which for Daniel Jones' ability to run the ball is his best attribute as a quote-unquote quarterback. So
more like a game manager, really. But yeah,
exactly. And Saquon Barkley, part of the reason that he wasn't doing as well as after his rookie year, the just awful head coach that they had, like trying to use him. I give Brian Daboll credit this. He is keeping it simple. He is making it easy for Saquon Barkley to just, okay, you're going to be running up the middle, running out the sideline. We're going to make you a running back again. We're not trying to make you a superstar. We just want you to run efficiently to the point where, Jose, he's not dancing side to side. He's running north and south.
Well, I will say this too. Yeah. Now, it could have been attributed to the fact that the head coaching was not as good as it used to be for sure. However, there is game footage about 2 or 3 years ago where Saquon Barkley is just sitting in the pocket waiting for an opening, right? But he just takes the wrong turn for him, right? He could have been a much more confident running back for sure, in the sense that he could have found the opening himself and he could have run down that opening for sure. However, I do understand the fact that, yes, the head coaching, the coach's word is the coach's word. I do completely understand that from a player's perspective. However, when the player is unsure of that play calling, at that point, he should take some kind of responsibility in his game and say, hey, you know what? I completely respect his play calling, but at the same time, I'm seeing something different, right? So he himself is getting much more confident because the head coaching is on his side, so to speak.
And this speaks a tribute more to Brian Daboll as well. The fact that he's got players believing in what he does, and the fact of the matter is, Josh Allen as a rookie is not as close to who he is right now. Brian Daboll and his staff coached him to be as great as he is. Now, Josh Allen is great, he's great, but he would not have gotten there with the excellent coaching and tutelage without Brian Daboll.
We all need people to support us for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So as a player, when you see that exponential rise and you start to win games and you start to believe, it is because of head coach that you're like, okay, I trust that this is going to lead somewhere. You're not as hesitant, as you say, with the play calling, not feeling as well. Now, before I got to slow my roll here a bit because most Giants fans are like, yeah, we're gonna make the playoffs and do some stuff. They do not have the talent to keep this up going forever.
Exactly.
It is a great early start and it is a great turnaround to change your franchise. You guys are looking fantastic. Still need a quarterback. And still need some weapons on receiver because as shaky as this defense looks sometimes, they keep them in games. They have kept them in games so far, and they make some timely stops. The game against Green Bay, when they came back all the way, they were able to hold Aaron Rodgers off in key timely stops. Now, did they give up over 20 plus points? Yes. But when it came time to crunch down and settle down, they did a good job of doing that.
And that's exactly the point that I really wanted to make very quickly is the fact that the defense, especially the secondary, is having a hard time still. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense is much stronger than as a whole, is much stronger than the New York Giants, which is why I do not believe personally that they are going to continue being this good.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah. And it's just a great turnaround for this New York Giants franchise who has been like suffering. It looks like they're finally on the right step. Now, let me get to the other side of the coin. An equally impressive looking team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the reason why I don't say that Doug Peterson's going to be the coach of the year as opposed to Brian Daboll. He has Trevor Lawrence. He has Travis Etienne. They still need a number one receiver, but the receivers are still good, solid, not great. They don't have a great receiver yet.
Not yet.
But they have tried to come through in some very close games. Now, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've got some building blocks. They got the quarterback. They have their pass rushers in Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, the first pick of this NFL draft. He's looking okay, solid. Like he's going to develop into something good. You just mentioned the secondary. I don't have to go over that again. But it looks like with the trade that happened today, Jose, by the way, from James Robinson, their starter from last year, to specifically to the New York Jets, it is official. Travis Etienne is the guy, and I'm so happy for him. Jose, now that I think of it, two running backs coming into their own and like breaking out the season in Saquon Barkley and Travis Etienne. Both guys that I love. Both guys that run hard and very athletic and are very good. I've watched Travis Etienne in college. I'm very happy that he's finally getting the chance to perform at the NFL level.
Absolutely.
And doing some things. However, he still has some work to do because...
And seemingly Saquon Barkley making a comeback, for sure.
Yes. One key play that affected this Jacksonville Jaguars from winning this game was they were doing a good drive into the Giants secondary. They were going down. The Giants were leading 11-10 at this point in the game. Lawrence passes the ball to Travis Etienne. He's trying to make a play for the end zone, and he fumbles the ball. And the Giants get the ball back.
Yeah.
And that changes everything, Jose. That changes the momentum. That takes away points and gives points to the other team. So there's still work to do. But it's very, very solid. I will say, as a person whose franchise is under moribund and horrible leadership, I am jealous of these two franchises that actually have their stuff good together. They're not good to great. They're looking okay, but they're heading in the right direction. They at least know what they're doing. And I'm going to bring this back to the game before I go on a soliloquy over here. But I told the podcast, Doug Peterson is a good, decent head coach to try to coach this team into being better. Whether it is Trevor Lawrence is looking much improved
significantly. Yes, absolutely.
And it's fair to say that he deserved a mulligan after Urban Meyer's quote unquote coaching reign for that year.
Man,
but it was a good tough game between two good head coaches, and it was good. It was incredible to watch the Giants pull it off again and make it happy for their fans. And I'm honestly excited to see where these two franchises go.
As am I.
Yeah.
As am I. I'm very excited to see where these two franchises go, especially since you nailed it on the head, Ricardo, the fact that they are heading in the correct direction.
Yep.
Right? With the exception, I mean, much like your team should.
Yes.
Right? The Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals should be in this position, but they aren't because they are not ready to face the fact that they are just not that good. They are just not that good.
Nope.
So it's disappointing to see the fact that it's disappointing to realize the fact that the Arizona Cardinals are looking the way that they are right now, when the New York Giants and the Jacksonville Jaguars have all the potential in the world. I am very excited to see where they go.
I will say this for the Jaguars. They were very, very close to winning that game. For Christian Kirk getting stopped at the goal line, that's just... it was a tough play. It was a tough play, but like it was close for either team could have ended up winning this game, Jose.
What was very interesting too is that the first few weeks, it seems like the Jacksonville Jaguars would play well the entire game, and then the final quarter, even like not even the final quarter, like the final half of the fourth quarter, they just couldn't finish. They just could not finish the game, right? However, this game, that is exactly what they tried to do. So that is exactly what they tried to do. They just missed it by a hair, Ricardo. So I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, the trend continues upward, and the Jacksonville Jaguars can close out a game and say, hey, you know what? We won it on merit alone, for sure.
Yeah, but I still maintain my point that, like you said, they're in the right direction. They're close. They're getting there. They're doing it the right way. They're getting close to building winning habits.
And that's exactly what I'm saying for sure. Is that they are on an up. Yes. They are on an upward trend to continue to improve, for sure. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. If you have anything else to add, Ricardo, let's go ahead and.
No, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah. So
next game, let's go ahead and talk about the Seattle Seahawks. The surprise of this week: the Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Do not go away.
Don't go away.
All right, Ricardo, the biggest surprise of this week, the Seattle Seahawks beating the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, let's rewind last month. Oh, not even last month. No, last month, before the season started, Ricardo.
Yeah.
Would you have thought that the Seattle Seahawks would beat the Los Angeles Chargers, what the team that we thought was going to win the AFC West?
Not in a million years, Jose.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Now, we have to give credit where credit is due. The Seattle Seahawks offense is looking pretty good. Yeah. Geno Smith at the helm, not too bad. However, against the very good offense that is the Los Angeles Chargers, it does not seem like they're going to continue to hold up.
No.
The Seattle Seahawks offense, for sure.
Yeah.
Geno Smith continues to get sacked. He continues to take sacks, right? And he continues to not be able to handle pressure well. So those are the two big things, especially that I'm noticing about Geno Smith.
Yep.
For sure. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers, their defense could not tackle this game for the life of them, for sure. The fact that Walker had 23 carries on Seattle. The offensive back had 23 carries for 168 yards and an average of 7.3 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns is absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane. The fact, and it's crazy that their run game was just that efficient, which speaks to the Los Angeles defense, their run defense. They couldn't stop the run.
They could not stop a nosebleed, Jose.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah. So they didn't know that you had to hold your head back and press the bridge of your nose to stop a nosebleed.
Yeah.
Right. Not even hold your head back, but just press the bridge of your nose. Right. So that method just flew out the window.
Yep.
Right. They weren't able to stop the run. However, which speaks to Geno Smith's passing ability. It's not Geno Smith that won the game. It's very reminiscent of the New York Giants game.
Yeah.
It is not Geno Smith that won that game. It is not Geno Smith that's leading that offense. In this game, it was the run.
Yep.
For sure.
No, absolutely, Jose. And what people don't understand and what bothers me about this is that, they just they misinterpret how good running backs actually are. Specifically with how the plays are going about, and this speaks to me as a former lineman when I was in high school.
Oh yeah.
And I told you, let me rewind back a couple of years. Everyone was excited about Ezekiel Elliott. He's the next great running back. He's looking fantastic. He's breaking tackles. He's running quickly. This guy's unstoppable. And what did I tell you? I was like, I don't trust this guy, and here's why. You know what I said. What did I say, Jose?
Middle school-sized holes. He ran through huge holes in the defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just
he wasn't able to evade.
Exactly. The offensive line gave him all the space in the world to be successful. Now, here comes my point with the Seattle rushing attack. I will give credit to Kenneth Walker. He played probably his best game of his career. It was incredible to watch. But blocking and stopping the run, one-on-one, going against each other like D lineman or defense about toughness is attitude, Jose. They have talent. They have talent on the D line. Joey Bosa's gone. He was a great run stopper as well, but they still have Khalil Mack.
Absolutely.
They have Sebastian Joseph Day. They have some little linebackers that are emerging as players in the rotation for the Chargers group. So it's all about attitude. They have Derwin James, who can be in the box as well, who's an incredible safety. They didn't want to tackle Jose. They did not want to tackle. They did not want to stick someone and hit them hard and set an attitude on the edge. This is why when players get all confident, it's important because you're going to need it in the game. You got to be confident enough to know that running back's going at me full speed. I am going to drill him back and knock him down. Now that might not happen 9 times out of 10 because you're both professional. They're both professional athletes.
Right.
But the fact that you held them and held a form tackle, that'll lead to some incredible momentous things in your team and make your defense feel great.
Also, anyone and everyone can see the effort that you are putting in to stop the run or stop the pass.
Absolutely.
Right? If you don't, say I'm the quarterback of this team.
Yes.
Right? Say I'm the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks and I step back in the pocket and I don't even try and throw it to the furthest receiver. I try and throw it to the short route.
Yeah.
Right? I could have thrown it to the long route, right, and taken the risk because he was because he was wide open, right? However, I threw it to the short game because I wanted to be safe, right? As the pattern continues from game to game to game, there are going to be audience members as well as coaches that are going to look at that and go, you know what? Yeah, he's getting down the field efficiently. He's getting down the field, but we're not scoring points.
Yeah.
Why are we not scoring points? Within time, right? So if I were the quarterback of that team, and I were throwing these short passes and not even taking the risk of throwing those long passes, it'd be like, sure, yeah, he's getting yards, but where's the effort? Where's the effort to try and get it down the field to the furthest receiver that's wide open? You see what I'm saying, Ricardo?
No, I see 100% what you're saying.
So we have to be able to see that the athleticism, the effort that the quarterback or any player on the team any player that's on that team, we need to be able to see the effort that they're putting in. All right. Otherwise, what's the point of the game?
Yep.
Right.
And the reason I'm bringing up the running game so much is because you just sold those stats, Jose. 7.3 yards average per carry.
Yeah.
That's a first down every second play. So pretty much if the Seattle Seahawks, it was 3rd and 5 instead of 3rd and 6, I'll just run a draw play. They're not gonna stop him. They're not gonna try to tackle him.
Right.
He's gonna go down that field. And I watched this game live, Jose. It sickened me as a defender. It was watching that effort of trying to stop the run. It's like, no, you got, like, it's one thing to get outclassed and outplayed, but you see effort. And this Chargers defense, there's a reason why, like, we picked this team, Jose, to be the top of the AFC West, and I picked them to be contending for the Bills for the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
I thought this defense was going to play as great as it looked on paper. And right now they're playing with as much as effort as a thin piece of paper against the wind with some of these games that they're playing. It bothers me, Jose, because they are better than this. They have the talent to be better than this. Even with Joey Bosa out, they could still be top 15 to top 10 defense. And that's why it annoys me, is because the Seattle Seahawks, there's no trick as far as what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball down your throat. They're going to run some passes, and Geno Smith's going to scramble around to try to find an open guy.
Yeah.
It's no secret. You know what's coming, and it's not incapable of players stopping it. So this is why I'm going on this rant here about the Chargers defense, is because they have been playing awful. They've been playing awful. Sure, they've been in some close games. The Broncos game was a close one, but we know how the Broncos are looking right now. Don't even get me started with
good
that
Lord.
Don't even get me started. Yeah.
So
they went from this team to hold the Chiefs to under 30 points to try to win this game, to this mediocrity, giving up 37 points to the Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks are looking good. They're having a great run, but they are still not a better team than the Chargers. I refuse to believe that, Jose.
They are not.
I refuse to
No.
believe that.
They are absolutely not. They are absolutely not better than they are not. They are not better than the Chargers for sure.
Now, I will say this to the people telling me, yes, I know there was 2 early turnovers by the Chargers. I've seen defenses hold them to field goals. It's not a problem. I've seen some effort into this. It's because the easiness in which Seattle scored, Jose, is what bothers me. If you get beat, you get beat. It's fine. But I will give me some maximum effort here, to quote one of your favorite superheroes, Jose. I want some maximum effort. I want you to try your hardest to stop. I'll live with it. We can adjust to it. But no, they're not giving this to me. And I got to start talking about the Chargers offense before I get more upset with the defense, Jose. So Justin Herbert is still struggling a little bit. It's still his third year. He's not progressing as quick as I could as far as to that MVP level. He is struggling a little bit. Now, Keenan Allen, his number one receiver, is gone. But I'll give him credit this. He is using advantage of Austin Eckler to check down. We talked about it earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
You say Austin Eckler is his number one target with reason. He can run some good routes. He's a good running back at catching out of the back.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great he's a great receiver when he needs to play that role. Right? And on top of that too, he's a phenomenal rusher, and we've seen those stats that he's put up, especially in this game. 12 receptions for 96 yards, an 8-yard average per carry, and a single touchdown. That's Ricardo. 12 targets as well. He was targeted 12 times.
Is that a receiver or a running back?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly the point. It's just he looked just like this last week.
Yeah.
He looked just like this last week. It's like we were commenting about him and we were commenting about Travis Kelce for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? The two of them are, one of them's a running back, the other's a tight end, but they're putting up receiver numbers.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? So it seems like for those two teams, the passing league is a little irrelevant to them because they are passing it to backs.
Yeah.
They're passing it to a back, they're passing it to a tight end. They're utilizing the offensive weapons as they need to.
Now, I'll give credit. I'll give the Chargers a little bit of a break. Their top left tackle, Rashawn Slater, is out for that team, so the offensive line is getting more pressure.
Yeah.
Rashawn Slater, when they drafted him in the first round, the year after Justin Herbert's rookie year, they didn't hear another peep of the guy. And that's a great thing as an offensive lineman. You only hear about offensive linemen when they make mistakes. And Rashawn Slater was a dependable left tackle as they come.
Well, you can also say this, too, is Justin Herbert is no stranger to pressure.
No.
And he's also no stranger to handling pressure. Right? So he himself is able to step up into the pocket if need be. We've seen this in the first 3 weeks of the NFL season, just this season, though.
Yeah. Justin
Herbert is able to handle the pressure. It just seems like that missing piece is starting to affect him a little bit more.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And you gotta develop as a quarterback. We could easily blame the offensive coordinator as far as some mismanaged plays, but as a quarterback, you gotta get it done. And you have weapons. Keenan Allen is not the only weapon on this team. Gerald Everett is, barring the stupidity of that Chiefs game when he just gave up on his route, he is looking like a dependable tight end for as far as the season is going.
Yep.
And he's got Mike Williams, big man, 50-50 catches, and then you got Mr. Running Back here as a wide receiver as well. So he's got to get it done. He's got to get it done, and he's got to start winning some games, because one of the critiques about Justin Herbert, Jose, is that where's the winning? Everyone's oohing and ahhing about this guy.
Yep.
Great talent, what this? But he still has an under 500 career record, and people are picking him to lead the team to finally to the playoffs, to the promised land. Got to get it done. Last year they were close to making the playoffs. The year before. There's some expectations now. Getting these key free agents, big names, big players. People are going to be expecting something from you. Otherwise, they're going to blame, looking around we got the receivers, we got the running backs. Our offensive line is okay. Our defense,
got the linebackers,
got the corner. Poor J.C. Jackson, by the way, he's going to be out for the rest of the season. I feel awful seeing that injury.
As do I, as a New England Patriots fan. Him being a former Patriots cornerback, it's a shame to see him to see him stunned in this way. But here's to next season for him, especially. He's one of the most elite cornerbacks in the game, so I don't imagine him slowing down next season.
And we got Asante Samuel Jr., who's still a good starting cornerback for the
team.
team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you got all these pieces around, and if they're performing at their highest level, I'm still mad about that defense, by the way. They're not giving as much effort as they should. They're going to look towards the leaders. Who's the leader? Who's the one leader in the team as a player? The quarterback.
Right.
That pressure's going to start building, and he's going to have to respond. I think he can. To come up as your first ever rookie start against Patrick Mahomes and only lose by 3 points when you just found out that same game you were going to start, It's something good. It's something special. So I just gotta say, we gotta see more, and we gotta see him perform. No ifs, ands, or about it. We gotta see him perform. And as bad as I'm talking about the Chargers, Jose, they are still 4-3. Somehow they still have a good winning record. They're just behind the Chiefs in the race, and they got a lot of ground to cover.
They do. And to quote you from earlier, and we're probably going to continue to say this for the rest of the season, or at the very least up until mid-month next, until the middle of the month next month. Wait until after Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Wait until after Thanksgiving to see how exactly these teams are going to continue to perform. So with that, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Seattle Seahawks, it was a good game for sure. The Seattle Seahawks are starting to defy our expectations up until this point. However, it's looking as though the Los Angeles Chargers are going to start to continue to improve.
Yeah.
Because again, they are a better team than the Seattle Seahawks offensively and defensively. And I do not believe that the Seattle Seahawks are going to continue to look like this past Thanksgiving. That is our prediction for sure.
Yes.
Now,
about another team that we have a lot of faith for and interest in, but they look like they're starting to turn around the corner. We're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals and how looks like they're coming together.
And how they performed against the Atlanta Falcons this past week.
No, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to start off the top, Jose, by saying this. This is the more complete game I saw this offense perform all year long.
This is the Cincinnati Bengals.
The Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. Tyler Boyd starting off with a good 60-yard bomb to start leading over the game. Bengals looks like they're trying to become the team that they were last year, which was a hot offensive team throughout the regular season, trying to carry over and become a new standard in their division. Now they have this going for them. The Ravens have been losing. They've been losing some close games, and they still have a chance to be at top of the division, which I predicted, and I believe you predicted as well. Mm-hmm. We still predicted that they would be the winner of the AFC North.
Yes,
now,
sir.
One key thing that impressed me, Jose, and that was very excited about the Cincinnati Bengals, they got a chance to they got a turnover from the Atlanta Falcons, okay? And they were at the 40-yard line. They kept driving. They kept going. Now, they were able to get 1st and 10 from the 9. Now, Cincinnati Bengals, what are they known for doing more specifically?
Passing the ball.
Exactly.
For sure.
Passing the ball for sure. And what I saw them do that drive, because it was still 7-0, Jose. It could easily have gone to 10-0 or 14-0 to lead to open the floodgates, which it did in the game, but it hadn't happened yet. Instead of trying to force the ball into some coverage to maybe possibly a turnover or just kick the field goal, they trusted that offensive line to get them to the promised line. They ran it 3 straight time, Jose's, and they weren't hiding the fact that they were going to do it. Sure, they had Jamar Chase or T. Higgins out on the wide, lined up wide, but they had their tight ends, they had their runs-heavy formation, and they ended up scoring the touchdown, 14-0. And with Joe Mixon on there, it was just, I love seeing that come together for the offensive unit, Jose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you remember that Dolphins game on Thursday night when they were having trouble scoring, getting touchdowns. The offensive line was still struggling and looking bad. It was very, very tough. In order to, it's there's a saying, Jose. It's with anywhere. It's college, high school, pro. If you can't score from 1 yard out, if we can't run it in from 1 yard out, we don't deserve to win this game. We don't deserve as linemen to win this game if we can't score into the end zone.
That's true.
And then because the first run went to 4 yards, then it went to a couple 2 yards, and then it was 3rd and goal at the 1. Mm-hmm. Nobody's hiding what they're doing. They have got their big hogs in the middle of the trenches, opening up those holes for the running back, man on man. Who's got the better effort? Let's see. And the Cincinnati Bengals were able to score on that second half touchdown. And it was a key moment in the game because it forced them to go up 14-0 with the Atlanta Falcons looking like they were struggling. Now, 14-0 is a lot more different than 10-0, Jose. It is a lot more different. You get a lot more momentum and you scored some more touchdowns. Now,
with the touchdowns,
yes.
We do have to mention right now that Joe Burrow was phenomenal. during this game.
His best game of the year.
For sure.
No
for sure.
doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, arguably his professional career, really. He had an 81% completion percentage. He threw for 481 yards, almost 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a QBR of 138.2. 138.2.
You know what my favorite stat about that, Jose, is? 0 interceptions.
Zero interceptions as well. Yeah, that's right. And you were talking about this with Justin Herbert in the first couple of games this season, right? If I remember correctly, it was the very first game of the season, if not the second. So it's very impressive to see him put up these stats and not throw an interception a single time. Not a single time.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I will say this. It is against the Atlanta Falcons. They are not the strongest team, let alone the strongest defense, right?
Yeah.
However, it's still impressive to see Joe Burrow perform at this level. It just goes to show you that he can still put out,
and also,
for sure.
And just really quickly, Jose, to build off of your point as far as for the offensive, yes, it's against a team that you should be able to beat. You should be able to win handily.
Oh, yeah.
They did. How many games do we see, Jose, where some teams are in a close game with a bad team that it takes to the last possession to barely come away at the last moment?
Oh, yeah,
The
absolutely.
Bengals dominated starting from the beginning of the game towards the end, and it's showing that they have higher standards for themselves. They're
Yes,
we
absolutely.
are better than what we are right now. We're not 500. We have more goals as far as what we want to do. And a key turning point for their season, okay, because they were 3-3. They were looking on the outs, like losing to
They were
losing to the Ravens. It wasn't a away game, but losing to them, a 500 record. You're like, are these the same old Bengals as before? Are they just a fluke from the Super Bowl season? No, they're trying to turn around their season and do better. Now, one thing I don't like, still 3 sacks from Joe Burrow. For some reason, this man cannot get away from not getting sacked. That was one of my. I will be officially convinced that the Bengals are trying to win Super Bowl or good to win Super Bowl when there's no more sacks on Joe Burrow, or 1 sack or some pressure. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me that a guy that athletic and that can throw the ball pretty quickly still gets sacked. He's just got to learn to give up on a play sometimes. Live to fight another down. You don't have to get the touchdown each time. This time it worked for him, but the Super Bowl it did not. You got to play smart. You got to play efficient football. That's one thing that'll hold the Bengals back. And until they solve that issue, they're nothing more than just a good playoff team.
I have a vision in the future for how Joe Burrow is going to look when he stops getting sacked.
Yes.
Imagine Joe Burrow when he has, number one, a very, a solid offensive line. Number 2, an ability to let go of the ball as soon as he sees the pressure coming his way. It's going to be that's going to be the year.
Yeah.
Ricardo, that'll be the year that I'm convinced that Joe Burrow is probably the best quarterback in the NFL.
Probably
for sure.
win MVP if he with
absolutely.
these weapons here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do see the potential that he has. Unfortunately, he does need to learn to number 1, not take sacks. And number 2, the offensive line needs to learn how to do their jobs. For sure.
And I'll say this about Joe Burrow as well. I'm getting credit to him because he's finally thrown to the open guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Usually it's Jamar Central. He's always looking for Jamar.
Well, we've also seen this in the past few weeks too.
Yes.
Although they haven't been able to score points, we have seen him be a lot more balanced in his passing game.
Yes.
It seems like he's following the lead of Patrick Mahomes as well as Justin Herbert in just passing the ball to the open man.
Yeah.
Right. And Jalen Hurts as well. We can't forget about him.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And here's the thing: he's finally starting to understand about this. Jamar Chase can go off at any point in the game.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
These receivers need their touches too. They need more opportunities than Jamar. He needs to make sure that they get going and they feel good because Jamar's a superstar. I'm not worried about him. Guy can route run the defense.
For sure.
That first touchdown that he had, Jose, it was at the 40-yard line. He caught a back shoulder at the 20. He just outran everybody into the end zone.
Yeah.
It was a back shoulder, and he just outran I have no problems with Jamar, but with Tyler Boyd and T Higgins is looking good. Hayden Hurst as his tight end is looking as a reliable target. I will say this game he didn't have a popping performance, but I will say this: they are trying their best to replace him with C.J. Uzomah, who was a good target for Joe Burrow last year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even T Higgins is getting a few targets this season, more so than he was last season.
No, absolutely.
So the fact that T Higgins is getting more receptions than he did last year. Joe Burrow is looking for the balance in his offense as he should because yes,
that's how makes him dangerous.
Exactly. Yeah. As you said, Jamar Chase can get open on any play. Yeah. Absolutely. I believe that to the fullest extent for sure. However, although he can get open on any offensive play, eventually he won't.
Yeah.
Because the defenses are going to start catching up to him.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we want that double coverage away from him, Jose.
Right.
That's the thing. We don't want as much attention to him. You want like 5 plays, a couple of plays here and there where it's just one-on-one and he can do his thing. And that can only happen if the other players get involved and they feel like they're threats.
Yes.
Otherwise it's going to be triple teams every time. This game was a good example of like spreading the ball around. Okay, Tyler Boyd's getting going. Okay, let's focus on Tyler Boyd. Jamar Chase outruns everybody into the end zone.
Right.
So like that's the one way this offense will succeed, and it's good how the Bengals are going to do. So very, very excited for this team as far as how good this NFL season is looking for them. Now, this is a good game for the Bengals, but I will say this: I would like Jose to take the opportunity to rant about my team, which I know how you like my weekly rants about the Arizona Cardinals and how excited these people are about this win against the Saints. And it was a great game and it was looking incredible.
Before you do that, Ricardo, I do want to say this. As of right now, the fourth quarter of the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots game has begun. It's 14 minutes and 50 seconds in, so there's still plenty of game time left.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears are leading 26-14, and they benched Mac Jones.
Huge. Well, you take it away, Jose. Like
Goodness.
It happened too. Like we're recording this on Monday, you guys. So
this is pretty much live coverage.
Yes.
Yeah, like as if we were watching the game. Like this is live coverage. So
you go ahead, dude. Take as much time as you need.
Before you get into that, for sure, I did want to mention this, and it's not going to be very extensive at all. Mac Jones, obviously, he has been injured for the past couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
Around that time, he has been injured and he has been out. However, Bailey Zappi has stepped up to the plate and he has been playing some solid football for sure, particularly last week. Now, the New England Patriots are not as strong as they used to be, not by a freaking long shot for sure. And last week, there was a glimmer of hope, right? The defense is the defense. I was never worried about the defense to begin with, especially with Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia at the helm. I am not worried about either one of those guys at all. The New England Patriots offense was my worry. However, Bailey Zappi has continued to step up to the plate and utilize his weapons as he should. Mac Jones coming back into the fold, it's understandable that he is not playing as strong as he has been. However, the fact that they are benching Mac Jones and that they are including the rookie player in Bailey Zappi could be a testament to a couple of things, at least in my mind. Number one, Bailey Zappi is just the next guy for the rest of the season. Number one, which there's a very good chance of that. He hasn't been playing too bad, right? He's not great by any means, but he's pretty good, right? Or number two, it seems like the New England Patriots are kind of living in the past, so to speak, and saying, hey, you know what? We did this with Tom Brady. Can it happen? You know what I mean? It's like, can it happen with Bailey Zappi? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, can it happen with Bailey Zappi?
You noticed that too.
Right. Yeah. It's like, can it happen with Bailey Zappi? Who knows, guy? But if we put him in, maybe if we put him into the game, maybe. So it seemed like it was working out with two touchdown drives with Bailey Zappi, but going into the fourth quarter, scores 26-14. Unless the Patriots can lead a couple more touchdown drives to tie it up, and the defense can get stops against a team that we thought on the offensive side would not play as well as they are right now.
Yeah.
It worries me.
Yes.
It really does. And quite honestly, that's pretty much where I'm leaving it. I'm speculating, of course, with these two options, particularly with Bailey Zappi's position and Mac Jones's position at this point in time. They may be benching Mac Jones because they just don't feel that he's completely ready to come back in after his injury. That's possible too, right? However, I just don't see why they would just bench him like that if he were just coming out of an injury and he just didn't look pretty remarkable.
Or why not just keep him on the sideline? Why say that he's starting for this game at all? Keep Bailey Zappi playing until the magic runs out.
Yeah. So it seems like it's more of it could be a preseason tactic.
Yeah.
A tactic that is similar to the preseason, more likely. is that they're starting their second string quarterback just to see how he looks, and they're also putting in the primary quarterback too. An odd way of going about it, if that's true, but Bill Belichick is no stranger to the unique offensive play calling.
Yeah,
for sure. But whatever it is, the New England Patriots still just have to work on the offense as it is. We need to hire an offensive coordinator for Pete's sake. Man,
we talked about this. We talked about this was going to be a problem later on in the season.
Absolutely.
They have with a couple of games. Now, really quickly, my 2 cents on the situation,
oh, sure,
and then I'll get to my disgrace of a team who I'm with right now. But here's the thing with Bailey Zappi. And that happens with young quarterbacks that start like getting success early on. Mm-hmm. They're new. Because they're new, now the teams are unused to their tendencies as far as like where he's throwing the ball.
Oh, sure.
How he's looking. How is he reacting when they're running the ball? How is he reacting when they're play actioning the ball? How is he throwing to the left of the field as opposed to the right? How many throws to the middle, center, and all that stuff? He's new. So defensive coordinators haven't had a chance to adjust yet. So that's why we'll just keep rolling with the flame as far as how it's going. And that's the problem. I don't think he's better than Mac Jones. Not by a long shot. I just think he's going through the syndrome that every quarterback goes when they're young and they're okay. He's new.
Not every
success.
Not every quarterback is going to be Josh Allen. Not every quarterback is going to be Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, even Trevor Lawrence in this case, right? So Bailey Zappi right now, he's good, but if he's still good next year, if not better, I'll have more faith in him.
I don't want to go as far as to say he's good, Jose. I just want to say that he's new. He's new, and it's looking good, and his style of play is working. With whatever reason, it's working so far as for the New England Patriots offense. Yeah. But this speaks to Bill Belichick as far as like, what are they doing on the offensive end? Like, what do you do to you drafted Mac Jones first overall. Like your
first pick in that draft was Mac Jones.
You invested resources. When does Bill Belichick take a quarterback in the first round? You invested resources.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Even Tom Brady was drafted 6th. People forget that. Like, not Bill Belichick.
Overall pick 199.
Yeah. Bill Belichick doesn't draft quarterbacks early on without making a commitment to them and be like, this is our guy. Now, if he's injured, then just keep him out. If it's 50-50, just keep him out.
Sure.
Ask him how he feels like prior to like the game starting, and then make your decision from there. Don't start a couple of drives where like obviously he's gonna be rusty because he's been out for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do that and then bring in the player who's up and coming and doing okay, and then proceeds to look better than Mac Jones. You're just gonna create a controversy in your franchise, and you look like you don't know what you're doing on offensive end, which is clearly what they're doing because they don't have an offensive coordinator, Jose.
Right.
Now, I could go on and on, but I cannot go on without mentioning this in my podcast.
Like I said, I wanted to take a moment just to mention that. It's not going to be long, so that's pretty much my stance on it, on the New England Patriots, my team. Now let's move on to your team, Ricardo.
Oh my goodness, this disgrace of a franchise who's so excited about winning by 7 points. Here's why, people, they shouldn't be excited they won by 7 points. They got 2 touchdowns off of interceptions returned for touchdowns. I don't know if people don't understand this, Jose. You should be blowing the other team out if you get return touchdowns on the defense.
Let's remind the audience, who did they play again, Ricardo?
They played the Bills. No, it wasn't Bills. Was it the Eagles? No.
No, not a good team.
No, good. It was the New Orleans Saints with Andy Dalton as quarterback. So they have the same record.
Lord.
They have the same record as each other. They're both 2-4. This isn't an impressive win over a great team. The New Orleans Saints are struggling and they're spiraling, and it looks like they're going to head into a top 5 pick for next year's draft. So Andy Dalton, here's the thing about him. He has some good moments, and then he has moments like this. I mean, what world, Jose? What was he thinking? Like, two back-to-back interceptions and back-to-back drives? Like, you don't win from that. You don't come close to winning from that unless you're playing my team, of course.
And were they pick sixes?
Yes. They were both pick sixes. And they happened after each other. He threw an interception for a touchdown. Okay, the Cardinals get the lead. There, it was 14-14. The Cardinals were somehow able to tie the game, and like no, excuse me. It was 14-6. They get the interception for turn to touchdown. They tie it 14-14. The Cardinals get the ball. They're able to score a touchdown and take the lead. The Saints get the ball back. He throws another interception for a touchdown. So within that short time frame, they went from 14-14 to losing 28-14. So it should be a blowout by the Cardinals immediately right away, right?
Oh, of course.
No. Instead, you have a little complaining baby to his head coach on the sideline erupting over. But it's okay, Jose, because it makes me happy as a true Cardinals fan here under the radar, rooting for the best interest long term, which is to see my team host the Lombardi Trophy. Kingsbury's got to go, Kime's got to go, and Kyler's got to go. What's the way that this could happen? You got to start divide and conquering. Last year, Jose, they were very excited. They all got 5-year extensions. They all got paid. They all got their contracts, 5-year extensions. And here we go. We got our money, and we're going to perform just as well as last year. Man, we were undefeated halfway through the season. We got this. We got this, Jose. Until you actually comes time to play. And you have to start...
After Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving. Not even after Thanksgiving. You got a nuclear weapon as a wide receiver for DeAndre Hopkins, and you can't score one touchdown.
Who's coming back next week, mind you?
He came back. No, he came back this week.
Oh, he came back this week. That's right. That's right.
He came back this week. He got 10 catches for over 100 yards. Were they able to score a touchdown? No. Who does he throw the touchdown to? Or what's the play call and going to the touchdown to? Some third string wide receiver, Greg Dortch, who just made the team this year. No, don't try to throw it to our star player. Throw it to the other player that's, for whatever reason, on the team. I mean,
now, I could understand the coach. I could understand the coaching strategy in the sense that, DeAndre Hopkins is rusty because he's been out for so many weeks, right? So we want to pass it to Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch has been playing pretty good football for the past few weeks. However, DeAndre Hopkins is still proving by these numbers that he is a solid wide receiver. So why not utilize that weapon?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just going to wrap this quickly up, but I got to say it makes me very excited, very, very excited to see the whole thing collapsing. It's starting. It starts off with cursing out your head coach on national television where the cameras are looking at you, Jose. It's very exciting for me. It makes me very, very happy because I know that this thing's going to come collapsing down. So who goes first? The head coach. Okay, the head coach goes down. Who's next to blame? What's going on? Oh, the general manager. Sure, he hired the last 2 head coaches. That's why Kyler isn't playing well. Oh, well, there's another head coach and a new GM, and Kyler still isn't playing well. So you see, Jose, I'm going for a divide and conquer strategy here, and it makes me very excited. Who do you take off first? The weakest link of the 3, which is Cliff Kingsbury. Then it's going to be Kime. And then ultimately, they're going to have to get rid of Kyler because I've lost faith with him, dude. I have lost faith whatsoever of him being an NFL quarterback, and I do not think he wants to win at all. I honestly think he just wants to get paid. He got paid. Now he could care less. All he's worried about is Call of Duty midnight releasing and double XP weekend points. That's all I have to say about this. But we're heading in the right direction here. We are.
There's one team. There are 3 teams that are heading in the right direction: the New York Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes.
2 of them are heading in the correct direction in the sense that they have solid head coaches. They have great head coaches. I mean, one of them has a solid quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and then the other one is just complete and utter, excuse my language, crap.
Yes.
Shit. Yeah, complete and utter shit. And because of that, they need to start cutting the heads off the snake.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like we've been saying at the beginning of the season, during the offseason, and hell, I mean, at the beginning of this podcast, the 2nd episode, we started talking about the disaster that is the Arizona Cardinals.
Yep.
For sure. Now, we've been talking at this mic for just over a half hour, almost 40 minutes. Yeah. Now, it's been a fantastic episode. We've had a really great time. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow our Instagram at RJTalks_11. Leave a comment and a like down below if you like what you hear. If you want any other suggestions for other content that we should be putting out, do not hesitate to put that down, and we will definitely consider it for our audience.
We still got a whole NFL season to go, Jose. It makes me very excited as far as how it's going to turn out. And once we hit Thanksgiving, we'll see how each team's looking, and we'll go based off of there, how we think they're going to happen.
I love it. I love it, and I cannot wait. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week.
Take care.